Welcome to Where's Your Next, the Talent and Careers Vlogcast. Mike Rasmussen coming to you today live. I want to give thanks to our sponsor, Higher Scale, today. And I also want to talk about what we are experiencing in 2024 from a job search perspective. I call this segment the psychology of job search. The reason that's so important is post-pandemic, many things are different. I'm going to start out with a story today. Yesterday, I was sitting doing some job search steps in a Barnes and Noble out in uh, Murray, Utah. While there, I was making some calls and doing some follow-ups. I have been close to some offers in my job search. Now, what happened was I was having my conversations. A gentleman, very pleasant gentleman, perked up across down the way at another table. And he walks over to me and he sits down and he goes, "Are you in a job search?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And he goes, "So am I." Well, we had that conversation. It turns out a few years ago during the pandemic, this gentleman had been a business operations analyst in healthcare. And while there, he had made the decision during the pandemic when a lot of his colleagues had been laid off. A lot of them had gone through some challenges. He went and decided to go into education. And so he pivoted from a career in that side to a different side of work into teaching and education, which leads me to this point. The thing that, as we had our conversation, the thing that stood out, the thing that really hit me was that he was talking about not only surviving, but thriving in times when it seems like the world is saying no. So let's talk about that for a minute. Here on Where's Your Next, my whole goal is to try to help people to think differently about their careers and where they're going and what their job search is. We are in interesting times. We are in a time where you have to think differently. You have to be an entrepreneur. You have to be unafraid of the challenges that you're facing. So here's the reality. We are facing times where people are going to say no to you. The psychology of job search is basically this. Back in 2020, there are a lot of shocks to the system. These shocks have not gone away. But yet, businesses are acting as if everything's normal now. Well, let's talk about that for a minute, shall we? I think the biggest challenge that we're facing in these times is that people aren't thinking differently about their job search in the way that, and even employers are gun shy about the way they hire. So, for example, there's a lot of return to work initiatives going on. What this does is that, it discounts the fact that many people were used to working from home. So, what's the problem with this approach? Well, it helps with collaboration, right? Well, the issue is that people got used to helping to having opportunities in their own homes where they were able to have better work-life balance and they were better able to do things. So many organizations have shifted to what we call a hybrid work style. So here's where it gets interesting. I'm seeing a lot of talent acquisition professionals who've been let go, who are in transition, who are working, trying to get to the next step. So I challenge you, why not think about hanging out a shingle? Why not thinking about being a business owner yourself? Why not think about new ways of doing business? So in this climate, you might have to think differently. You might have to do things in a different way. The psychology has changed. In other words, the days when you could be taken care of by a company for 30 years are gone. I hate to say that. I wish it weren't true. I wish you could stick around and still be with a company for many years. I had that opportunity at ADP. Back in 2021, I made a career move to the LDS Church. When I made that career move, it was a good move, but it was something I needed to do at the time because I needed growth. I needed international recruiting experience. I got it. And then I went to the Source and Recruit company, got business development experience. The reality is we are living in a time where it is very difficult to you're going to go through rounds of interviews. You're going to go through steps. People are going to say no. I want you to know how important it is to know your value proposition, to be committed to the game, no matter what happens, because the psychology of job search has changed. And what that means is you got to think differently. As one who's been close to several offers and gotten an offer recently, I've experienced everything from ghosting, people not getting back to me and closing the loop. I've experienced anything from getting all the way at the end of the process. Hiring manager and I get along. Something didn't, budget fell through. These last 3 months, I've been on multiple interviews and I've seen everything there is to see at this point. So if you're going through a job search and you're getting no's, keep a tally mark. It's a badge of honor. The psychology of job search needs to change. You can't get down. We've been used to an economy where people were coming at you with offers and opportunities and throwing money at you. And there just a couple of years ago, what did we have? We had sign-on bonuses. People were getting money left and right, and all these things were happening. Didn't seem like there was enough people. And all of a sudden, we turn around and we're here in 2024, facing one of the most unique labor markets in a generation. Where's Your Next was created from the standpoint of wanting to change perception of how to approach your job-seeking goals, how to live your best life. Content on this channel is focused on a wide variety of different topics. I'm live streaming to all my channels today, but today I want you to know how important it is to stay the course. The psychology of job search has changed, and that means you need to be more committed than ever before. Think of different ways of doing that job search. What does everybody do when they're in the job search? Where do they go? Go to any LinkedIn posting that has easy apply. Look at how many people have applied to it. Look at how many organizations are still hiring right now, but everybody's going through the front door. Now that's okay. Do that. Absolutely. But to get to interviews, you're going to have to think differently. I want to give a call out to a gentleman by the name of David Perry. Guerrilla Seeking for Job Hunters was written several years ago. I actually used it in several of my job searches. But what he did differently was several things. One, set up a way to reach the hiring leaders in a different way. Create a target list of companies you want to work for. How do you create a target list? The psychology of job search is people are applying through this LinkedIn, Indeed, all these different things, but there's hundreds and hundreds of applicants. How do you even stand out? You got to do something different. You got to think different. What that means is create a target list of the companies you want to work for. Go to the top people, CEO, CFO, Chief HR People Officer. Follow it up with an email and a voicemail. Do this for any of your target companies. Keep going after that. Because the psychology of job search has changed, you need to differentiate. And one of the most important things you'll ever do is to be bold and go after in a different way. That's exactly what it takes now, especially if you're in TA. If you're in talent acquisition like me, and you've been for most of your career, you'll know this one truth. Fit is also defined as the ability to communicate in such a way that your value proposition is compelling and works well. That is the psychology. People hire people. Robots do not. It's not about the ATS. It's not about the human being looking at your resume. It's about the hiring authority who can say yes to you and say, you are hired. From that perspective, I'm telling you, the psychology of job search has changed. It means you must think differently. You must do different things. You must do things that people have never tried before. So if you haven't seen it yet, I do recommend David Perry's book, uh, Guerrilla Hunting for Job Seekers, because his program is spot on. I'm going to try this myself. I'm going to go after some of the top companies out there, brand name companies, ones I want to work for. And I'm not going to give up until, if I must, maybe I make 1,000 calls, maybe I make 2,000 calls. But because of my effort, I also pulled down my LinkedIn network of 15K people, an army of 15,000 people. Imagine, right? I have a network. And what I'll do is I'll pull down that list of people and I'll go through them and I'll go, okay, I've talked to this person knows me, these folks know me, these people are actively engaged in my search, these people are advocating for me, one after another. Degrees of separation, who are they separated from? Check and see. Who are they connected to at the places you want to work for? Make sure you're calling those people. Get on their calendar. Keep the conversations going. Go to professional association and networking and meetup events. Do things that are people orientated, because being a number, one little resume in a sea of thousands, is hard. Next thing I'm going to tell you, don't let anyone tell you and give you terrible advice that the open to work banner is a bad thing. In fact, it's quite the opposite. There have been a couple of very terrible articles out recently, and we're going to call attention to those here on Where's Your Next. We're going to say, no, that is not the way to do a job search. Put up your open to work banner. Let people help you for networking. Let's get back to the people-centric networking that made job search great before. We've automated the job search. There are hundreds and thousands of people that go for one job. To not get discouraged, you have to think differently. Do you know your value proposition? Do you have your core message ironed out? Are you unafraid? When Switchfoot, who I point to, and I'm wearing their paraphernalia today, decided that they wrote Dare to Move, that was about when they dropped out of college to go pursue their music. The world was saying, no, go the traditional route, do things differently in that way. What I'm telling you to do is do things more creatively. Think differently. You want something, go get it. Do yourself a favor today. Go watch The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith and see what he did. That movie is an inspiration to me about how to conduct my job search. And I'm going to tell you something, folks, I'm going to land. And if you're watching this, I hope you'll open a dialogue with me, because I am a world-class sourcing professional. My name is Mike Rasmussen. I am a recruiter. I am unafraid. I know what I'm doing. I know who I am. I've created Where's Your Next to be a branding mechanism and to help people in my network. My Vlogcast now has 118 subscribers, and I'm unafraid of who I am and my message today. But I want you to know, if you're a job seeker seeing this, please share it. Please let people hear that the psychology of job search doesn't need to be what it is today. You don't need to feel like the door is being slammed in your face and that things are going to get you down. I've had good friends that have called me in the last 24 hours, and I've seen amazing things. I've been close. I turned down a couple offers. They just weren't aligned to my needs financially. So don't let anyone tell you that it cannot be done. Because with hundreds of job seekers out there going for the same job you are, you have to think differently. You are the CEO of your own life. You are the one who can make yourself get hired because you thought differently. That's the message. It's kind of a fireside chat today, hence the background. But I want you to know you have what it takes. And if you're seeing this, I hope you'll do what it takes too. Remember, you are the CEO of your own life, and you have what it takes. So the psychology of job search has changed. So must you. So, quick recap of steps that I would suggest. Get a target list of companies that you want to work for. Make sure that they're quality. Know your value proposition and know what you want in your career. and be able to tell that story really compellingly. Be able to talk about what you did in the past that brought you to where you are today. Interviewers use something called the STAR method. So be able to talk about that. We'll talk about that in future episodes of Where's Your Next. But today was just a little bit of a pep talk. I've been close to my offers here recently. And it's a grind, guys. It's a grind. But don't be afraid to face that grind because you have what it takes. I know I'm going to land in a world-class talent acquisition organization. It's only a matter of how and when. I've been very, very close. And if you see this today, get in touch. Today, I thank my sponsor once again. Thanks to Higher Scale. I'm going to do some freelance work. I'm going to go to the marketplaces, put myself out there. And we're going to do some things that we've never done before. Thinking like an entrepreneur here. Create your own opportunities, guys. That's what it takes. That's the psychology of job search too, is if you know you have a skill, don't be afraid to try something different. Maybe try the freelance side of the economy. Go 1099 if you have to. Do whatever it takes to make ends meet. Any income's good income right now. But the psychology of job search is basically this. You have to think differently than just going and posting to a job and then hoping something happens. People hire people. Applicant tracking systems do not. So from me to you today, keep your head up. If you're job seeking, you have what it takes. I've started up a resume coaching business. Pleased to announce it here on Where's Your Next. You can get in touch with me. I will do a flat fee, $20 to $25 an hour. If you are a job seeker, I have 20 years of experience in HR and recruiting. I'd be happy to help you. Either one-on-one if you're in Utah or virtually. So put a comment down if you see this and you want to get in touch and get some help with your resume or just job coaching, job seeking skills. Happy to help with that. Now, not doing this as self-promotion only. That's just a side thing. I'm out there doing that for my friends who are reaching out. But I do want you to know if you do need help with recruiting as well and you're a hiring manager, please get in touch as well. I want to help you. I know the stress of this on both sides. I've seen it from the job seeker side and I've seen it from the employer side. For now, from me to you, Mike out from Where's Your Next. Thanks for attending the fireside chat. Till next time, we'll see you soon.